In this video, I'll be walking you through the amazing benefits of taking a 72-hour fast. That's 3 days. If you stay with me right till the end, we'll have a fantastic bonus. I'm Liz and I'm a clinical holistic therapist, yoga and meditation teacher. And with my lovely husband Scats, we've been fighting his diabetes using a keto and intermittent fasting diet. If you'd like to know more about it, have fun learning with us, then do this.
Subscribe, and click on the bell.
Hello, it's nice to be here. Thank you for joining me. I'm talking today about doing a 72-hour fast. My goodness, that sounds like a long time. Fasting doesn't seem to be in our sort of radar really, because we just don't really think that it's a good idea. We've been told all these years that fasting is not good for us and that it's actually starving yourself. Got some fabulous research from Dr. Jason Fung, who actually says that there is no scientific basis that we should be calling fasting starvation. It doesn't work that way. So it's actually not true at all. Most of us are conditioned by media and our upbringing. I know, for example, that I was told 3 meals a day, and everything coming at me from the television and magazines and newspapers was that we needed to eat more. And then eventually it got to the point where it was not just 3 meals, but it was lots of little meals. Very, very interesting how it's evolved over the years. So let's go right to it and let's see what happens when we start fasting. So let's start with the last meal that you have before you begin your fast. Your fast actually begins the moment that you swallow the last piece of food that you ate. And so now what happens? Your insulin has probably been spiked because in most normal diets there's quite a lot of carbohydrates. So it takes about 8 to 10 hours for that spike to truly come all the way back down again. This is why we need to fast for quite some time before we see some really good effects. When we do a ketogenic diet, we're already in a state of lowered insulin. So basically when we start to fast, it starts a lot sooner. So if you're doing keto diet, then just assume that everything will happen maybe an hour, sometimes 2 hours quicker. Something we're also taught is that our metabolism can sometimes get quite sluggish when we're doing fasting. That's not entirely true either, because our noradrenaline levels kick in when we're fasting. And also, once we're fat adapted, which we'll be talking about in a little while, you actually switch your fuels so you can keep going for longer. So 12 hours in, what's happening in your body? It's 12 hours since you swallowed that last bite of your food, and in the middle of your skull there is a little gland called the pituitary, and this now starts firing out lots of human growth hormone, which is called HGH for short. Now kids, they have a lot of human growth hormone because they're growing, obviously. When we get to adults and the older we get, the less and less human growth hormone we have in our bodies. Now, human growth hormone is helpful for repair. It also is anti-aging. So it does a lot of repairing of organs, but also helps to rebuild muscle as well. So if you're a bit older like me and you want to start toning up a little bit, then human growth hormone is your friend. So you're at 13 to 15 hours since your last meal. What's happening now? This is where we get into what's called ketosis, which is where we switch fuels from glucose to fat. And of course, glucose, brilliant for burning, great fuel, but it doesn't last for very long. And we need to replenish it over and over again really quickly. Fat, on the other hand, can last for much, much longer, and it's a much steadier burn. So of course, at this point, we're on a lovely, steady, even keel as far as our energy is concerned, which is marvelous. This is called ketosis, and at exactly the same time as we start burning fat, we start producing ketones. Now, ketones are brilliant for fueling the brain and wonderful because it just means that you're in fat burning mode. Now let's move forward. 17 to 19 hours in since you took that last bite of your food. Oh my goodness, this is where it starts getting really good. Autophagy begins. This is where your body is like where is the food? There's not much food. Come on, what are you doing with it? So it goes searching for it. And what will actually happen is that your body will search for food, and it will eat up all viruses in your body and recycle old dead cells and eat them all up. So in effect, you're cleansing and detoxing yourself. This is when it starts, about 17 to 19 hours. Obviously, the longer you can go, the better the autophagy will be. Now we're at 24 hours since your last bite of food. This is where we start creating stem cells. So here, the first stem cells to be produced will actually be in your bowel, which is fantastic because that means that anything going wrong in your bowel, if you've got any kind of imbalances, IBS, anything like that, this is where you're going to have some help happen. Also at 24 hours, BDNF is released into your brain, and it is actually known as brain fertilizer. Absolutely incredible. Starts repairing neurons and creating better neural pathways. So any memory loss, anything affected in the brain like brain injury, this is the time it all starts to repair itself. Fabulous. 24 hours is also the time when serotonin is released. This is the happy hormone. Really, really good times are happening now. You start to feel really, really good. Serotonin is so good for you and keeps you nice and calm. Also, at 24 hours, something else happens. Blood pressure starts to get lowered. So if you have high blood pressure, your blood pressure will come down naturally, all on its own. One other thing, inflammation starts to reduce dramatically at 24 hours. Isn't that amazing? Now we come to 36 to 48 hours. We're really hard into our fast now. Really, really good going if you've got this far. Wonderful news is that this is the place where we actually can help if we've got resistance to our weight loss, because this is where the fat burning really kicks into action. We're producing more ketones just so that you can help you burning your fat. Also so good for your brain function. Still at 36 hours, all the glucose is now gone from in your stomach and intestines, so the body starts searching for it in the stores so that there's absolutely nothing left. Brilliant. Fabulous hormone GABA comes into play at 36 to 48 hours. This is a calming, beautiful hormone that helps with depression and anxiety and stress. Another fabulous bonus is that neuroplasticity is increased. Therefore, we can work out different habits, break old habits that we didn't like, helping us to renew our relationship with food. So now we're at 72 hours into your fast. Stem cell production is really ramping up here, and the main stem cell production now is in your immune system. All old white blood cells which fight infection will now be being eaten up and recycled and turned into brand new, spanking fabulous ones that will actually be much, much more efficient. Also, when we get to 72 hours, the fasting actually is recalibrating our dopamine receptor sites. Now, this one for me particularly is very exciting, because this could actually mean that for people who suffer, like me, with depression and anxiety, that it could actually lessen our symptoms over time if we keep up this lovely fasting, so that we can actually start to feel better and heal all on our own. How amazing is that? It's bonus time. Thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end. All of these amazing benefits. If you continue on after 72 hours with your fast, all of the wonderful things that we've mentioned, the ketones, the GABA, the BDNF, and the stem cell production will increase exponentially as you go along. Wonderful news. So if you can manage it, try and do a 4 or a 5 day fast, and then you will see unbelievable results. Just before we go, if you're wanting to attempt any kind of fast, especially if you're on any medication, then please contact your medical practitioner, whoever that may be, just to ask advice and to make sure that it's okay before you start, because obviously if you're taking medication, that might be affected if you're not able to eat anything. So in conclusion, What a wonderful way to heal and to repair our bodies. All of these things that we've been told over the years, that eating and eating and eating will do all the repairing, when in fact not eating is the way forward. It's good to have you with me. Thank you very much. See you next time.